Okay. How are we doing? How are we all doing? Big day. Big day. That's right. We have a big day. We'll see how it goes. You know what? Okay. So, the first thing that we're going to do, the first thing is something a little bit different. And I think I'm going to try maybe to do this every Saturday, but maybe more than that. Maybe every once in a while. I think what I'm going to try to do is record a Mighty Mini Monday at the start of Saturday's stream. So I have prepared one for today. Hey, good to see you, DVD. Good to see you. How are you doing? So, yeah, I'm gonna record one of these Mighty Mini Mondays this morning. And they're supposed to be learn something in under 5 minutes, so they should be really quick to record. And I've been wanting to put them out, but usually they interfere. So this is about something I've been asked a couple of times now, and so I'm gonna make a quick video on it just so that hey Monta, how are you doing? So I'm gonna make a quick video. I'm gonna post it to my YouTube channel. You can check it out and watch it there as well. But yeah, let's spend the next 5 minutes learning how to squash and merge. Actually, I'm going to start my camera recording real quick. Very nice. I like that emoji. I'm actually going to get put into Discord for us so that we can use it in Discord. I'm working on touching it up a little bit. The middle finger is supposed to actually be taller. If it wasn't a stupid robot, it would know that. Maybe I wrote it. But anyways, so before we get into deploying the Null Cloud, which is the main topic for today's stream, we're going to talk about how to squash for a merge a pull request. Now, there's a whole thing of how to contribute to open source, and I think that we need to have that conversation as well, and maybe we'll do a couple more of these Mighty Mini Mondays on those types of things. But for today, we're just learning how to squash and merge. I want to show you my screen, which I did not prepare to record. Give me 1 second. I added the dashboard to the main. Oh, and auth guard. Okay. Whoa. Cool. Super cool. I'll show you what I did as well. Probably not as cool. Probably not as cool. Give OBS a second. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I want to try doing these. Just to have a little bit of content that's always flowing out there. Also, I like the small chunks to learn, and it's actually something I've been being asked. How to actually squash. So the last person that said that they tried to squash their pull request said that they lost their pull request, which I found interesting. So we're going to explore. I don't know why. OBS takes a while the first time opening up. All right, there we go. And we're going to start recording there so we can record the screen. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get into this. All right. So there's so many times when you make a pull request that you've made the main commit. And I will repeat that we're not getting into whether you should change Git history or not. I'm an advocate for not. but this hasn't made it into the main Git repo yet. There's been no pull request to merge it in. So let's do that right now. We're going to make a small change here, just some spacing that doesn't need to be there. We're going to save that, and we're going to make a new commit with that fixed spacing. So we're going to git commit -m, and we're going to say fixed new lines. And we're going to push that. Now, we can go and check out this. I've already opened a pull request for it. And so we can check out this pull request. And one of the things you're going to see here is a lot of different commits, because I've worked on this over time, and I actually worked on it from different computers, so it was nice to have all of these things synchronized with my fork of the repository. But there's a couple things here. Fixed end of file new lines, fixed spelling. These things aren't good individual commits. You want your pull request to contain very concise, and in my opinion, each commit should be a buildable artifact. So let's fix this up before we remove the do not merge label. So how we're going to do that is with a squash. So squashing effectively removes a commit, and it squashes it with another one. Now, there's maybe some ways that you can do this, but the easiest way that I found to do this is just to, we're first going to, I'm not going to put this on there, but I need to git fetch upstream. This has nothing to do. Okay. So the easiest way to do the squash and merge is to just git rebase, and then the name of the branch that you want to do it with, upstream main. And then here with this, you just pass the -i or interactive. Hey kids, I need you to turn that down just a little bit, if you don't mind. All right, so in here you can see that we have all of those commits that we could see over here in the repository. And now we want to get rid of some of these that don't actually make sense. Now we're not getting rid of the changes, we're just going to squash them. As you can see, there's actually a lot of helpful information here on this. But let's go ahead and do this. So we don't want to fix new lines. That should be part of the cleanup deployment files, so we're going to squash it. We don't want the fixed end of new lines, so we're going to squash it. Now, squash is going to use the commit, but meld into the previous commit. So that means these new line changes here, these fixed new lines, are going to be part of these fixed spelling errors. But we don't really want the fixed spelling errors, so we're going to squash that one too, which means both of these are going to be both of the changes in these are going to be added to this added container build action. All right, so we're combining them a little bit. Now the interesting thing is you could actually reorder these if you wanted to. If you wanted to move this one, we could put this somewhere else, but we don't want to do that right now. So this now has kind of cleaned up some of our commit history, and let's go ahead and write this. And here, for those squashed commits, it's going to ask you to write commit messages. So you know what, we might want to keep this one, fixed spelling mistakes. And you know what, we're not going to talk about fixing the new lines because they weren't broken if we hadn't committed them, and it was only something we committed, so we're going to write and quit that. So this is going to be that commit message for those things that we squashed, and we had two squashes, remember, so this is the other one. Again, we don't really want this fixed new lines because it wasn't a problem if we hadn't committed it, which in this version it won't ever be there. All right. Now, you're going to notice this kind of scary thing, and this is why you work on a fork. This is saying that, like, not everything's the same as it is with the upstream repository, and that's okay after a rebase with a squash. So we're going to git push, and we're going to have to force that. Now, you should know what you're doing here, but that's why we're covering this. So we'll just go ahead and force that. And there you go. Now let's go check out our pull request. You can see it is very much cleaned up. You have this nice, complete history with really the actual things that we want to do. All right, so that's it for my Mighty Mini Monday. I hope you like this. I hope you like learning things in under 5 minutes, and I look forward to bringing you more. If you have an idea of something that you've had trouble with, something small, something comprehensible like this, please go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stick around for another one of these, and leave a comment with what you'd like me to cover next. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna stop the camera really quickly, and then I'll be right back. Thanks, guys, for putting up with that. I know, D1W. I know, the Vim motions. Yeah, so you say, okay, so DVD. I agree with you that in general, you should squash and merge before you put it up there. 100%. The reason I show this, and I guess I didn't get into that, it's supposed to be fast, is because a lot of the times, especially if you contribute to Kubernetes, you'll put the commit up there and they'll make a bunch of little changes because a lot of different people are going to make things. And then you want to squash those into actually one thing because they're not necessarily a buildable thing because they didn't like things that were happening. So you should squash and merge before you push your branch, but that doesn't actually mean that you're not going to then make changes. And for me, for example, whether it's before you make the pull request, I only made the pull request so it was clear, but I share it. So you're still going to have to do the force flag because your upstream, or not your upstream, but your origin, which is my personal fork, already has one because I actually switched between computers. So yeah. That's mostly for auto documentation on the build. Yeah. So if you have a clean commit history, it is easier to do documentation. The other thing that I strive for, and this isn't always easy, is I strive for each commit being a buildable project, being a buildable thing. Now, we're at the very beginning of this, so I think that's actually less of a thing, honestly. Also, it's a mono repo, which means there's some issues with that, but the goal is to have a buildable thing each commit. That means if I wanted to pull this commit, I could, and I could build it. It would actually work. Tests and stuff would. So now, obviously, if you have 4 commits like this, tests only run on the whole thing. So that's not saying that this one got tested, so it's not foolproof. Maybe you could make a better testing solution, but yeah. So the reason they say you shouldn't force push is you shouldn't force push to the main repository. So I didn't push to null channel Eddington. I pushed to Clavin X. Maybe this is something I should make clear. Maybe I should re-record it. This is actually good discourse, and I actually like going over these. So the reason is if you go get remote, I might re-record this afterwards and do get remote V. You can see I'm actually pushing to the Clavin repo, the fork of it. So I'm not changing history in the null channel. Actually, I disable it, so I can't even accidentally push to the null channel. So how this is this is the push URL, and this is the fetch. They can actually be different if you like. I use this to make it so that I don't have accidents, because I have the permissions to push to anything in the null channel, but I don't want to actually do that. Oh, so yeah, Force pushing after your PR is up changes it out from underneath whatever the people reviewed. So whatever I reviewed is now invalid. So it's kind of bad mannered. But I think it's also like in the Kubernetes community, they're going to ask you to squash and merge before it gets merged. So if they ask you to make changes, they want your pull request change to be one commit. Because they want that thing to be the thing that got tested, and they want that to be the thing that gets built. Every once in a while, if you can argue that it should be two actual commits, but they make sense to be together in the same pull request, you can do it. But they're pretty stringent on you have to define or defend that stance rather than that's just the standard thing. The thing is, it knows that I force pushed here 6 minutes ago, and it will invalidate the reviews anyways. So it now has run the checks on this the latest one, and if somebody had reviewed it, and given it the thumbs up, it will cancel those. So I don't know that it's that big of a deal. All right. So on to the real work. Let's get this thing deployed. All right, so I was thinking through this yesterday. I got a bunch of stuff we're gonna do. Hopefully, once we get it deployed, I got action secrets set up for Docker and Docker Hub so we can build. I think I got a GitHub action. Haven't tested it yet, but I think I got a Docker action that's going to build all of the important containers. So DVD, this is why I give a lot of explanation, because I don't believe in silver bullets. And so every scenario has its nuance. So that senior dev might have some really good reasons why in that case, in that scenario, I would say ask questions though, because if they don't give an explanation, then they're just griefing effectively. If anybody, I don't always explain myself, but if somebody says, hey, I don't know why, I then try to sit there and explain why I asked for something. Because, I think pull requests are a fantastic place to learn. As a reviewer and as a reviewee, I think both sides can learn from the experience. So I think 100% the junior devs should be reviewing the senior devs code. They can learn from it, ask questions, and sometimes they even catch stuff. Come up with some stuff that's like, yeah, I hadn't even thought about it that way. So it's a good learning experience on everyone's part. But that means you gotta let people know why you don't want something some way. I don't know the scenario. And I come from it from an open source perspective, which is a little bit different than if like you're on a branch of the main repository. So some people don't do the forking, and that's fine. There's a bunch of different ways of managing Git. I see squash and PRs a lot with the open source with a forked repository. So I find too often, and this is half the reason I YouTube, and I think this is actually what makes me a little bit not as good, or not necessarily not as good, but not as popular. I don't give a hard opinion. I do have a hard opinion on a lot of stuff, but one of my hard opinions is that there is no silver bullet, and so I try to equip people with the tools to make those decisions themselves to the best of their abilities. I can come out and say like this strong typing is the best, but that's again it's a tool. Static typing, whatnot, these are all tools. And so I do work really hard to, instead of just giving you a strong opinion, giving you it's like my AWS article. The reason I actually put a lot of work into that video, the reason I put that much work into it was to try to help people be able to read blogs in the future, and try to glean as much information as they can from it. So anyways, you don't do fork. So I want to do a whole how to do the fork pull request, but it's not going to be a Mighty Mini Monday, because the Mighty Mini Mondays, I really want it to be like 2 minutes. I want them to be fast. I want them to be every week. If I can fit them into a short, I'll do it in a short as well. I just wanted them to be quick and easy. But I think the whole fork and pull request is a little strange to people, and it also makes you manage Git a little bit differently, because in a fork and pull request, you kind of take this main repo, the null channel Eddington, as gold. You take it as the source of truth, and even branches in here are like release branches, nothing else. And that's not true if you're not using GitHub. So it's a little different. It's a little different, and that's okay. It just manages Git a little differently. I like it because then my fork doesn't have to be pretty. I can do whatever garbage in here, have whatever branches I want, and it doesn't really matter. And I like it. I do. Make them into TikToks? Oh man. I don't know if I can actually put something on TikTok. I have problems with TikTok. I don't know if I can stoop that low. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. All right. Let's get back into this deployment. So I built these containers. This has never run, so it probably won't run the first time we try it. My ability to write GitHub actions and push them and then work, very low. Very low. All right. I tentatively built the UI container image. It wasn't there when I built, so I want to see if we don't have a Docker file in here. Oh, we do. Okay, so it should be building this one. We'll see how this works. This is not the this is not the right way to deploy a front end, let me tell you. But this is how we're doing it. So usually your static front end gets deployed in something meant to deploy static front ends like CloudFront or even S3. We're doing it in a container. So that should be fun. Because all we have is Kubernetes. This is a bare metal Kubernetes cluster, and yeah. The other thing that I did, which we can see in this pull request, is I actually removed the deployment files, and there's a reason. So you'll go through here. Yeah, so I deleted all of these, and the reason I decided to do this was the Null Cloud's deployment shouldn't be in Eddington. Eddington should only contain any deployment files you have for Eddington itself, which we don't have any for it right now. So what we're going to do today is write the stuff to deploy Eddington that we need into the Null Cloud, and then we're going to make a Argo CD deployment for Eddington using those files as a template. So anyways, let's get into it. I'm going to remove WIP from this. We're going to review it on stream, which is something I actually think that's another series I want to do. I want to pull interesting pull requests from the upstream, like Kubernetes and stuff, and review them, because I think it's a fantastic learning experience to go over those types of things. Also, learning how to review a pull request is harder than some people. Nginx and Docker Compose. Oh, we use forking for cross-team collaboration. Interesting. Not really for intra-team collaboration. The other thing that I like about forking, the other thing that I love about forking, is in my fork, I can make a branch with some experiment. And then I can be like, hey, team, go check this out. It's not a real fork in the real repository. It's there. It's an experiment. It's sitting there. And I can be like, tell me what you think. I know it's crazy. I know it's weird. Go check it out. And then it's easy for them to access. So I think it's really cool for in-team collaboration. All right. So here is the pull request. So the first thing, one of the things, there's actually several commits. I generally would hold a pull request to a single commit, but it'll be okay. This one's just building all the containers. Like I said, I got the Docker hub and username already in GitHub, so this is going to work. And then we just build 3 images. Right now we have 3 images. We have the API, we have the UI, and we have the container runner. Now there's a 4th one that's in the works. Oh yeah, Docker for front end. That's fantastic. So there's 1/4 one that actually builds the containers. That's not working yet. Not fully operational battle station. So that's not part of this. You can see I removed the spaces. That was for the video. If I do re-record, I probably will make some pull requests like this again. All right. Updated some stuff for the images. So this actually specifically brought in CA certificates so that we could actually call external services. That was a bug. Let's see, what was this? This is in the application. Okay, so this was actually just one of the commits was actually updating from using we went from using the proto buffers to have inter service communication to actually directly calling it. We actually took a pull for that. So that's what this is. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know if we want to go through and review this whole thing. We'll see how it works when we deploy it. The really interesting thing that I'm going to look forward to is in the UI, we have the ability to, join a mailing list. And we actually have a marketing backend, which actually has a bug in it right now. It has a bug. It's actually going to require you to be logged in to send something to this. I just remembered that. So we'll fix that right now. We can see that in the pull request. I'm sure of it. Let's see. It will be in the main. Where did the side? Isn't there usually like the file explorer on the side nowadays? Deploy. This is. We have a bin checked in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that was probably me. That was probably me. I deleted it though, so that's good. All right, here it is. This is the change. So to test my middleware, the easiest endpoint to call was the one to delete or was to call marketing. So this uses the Ori middlewares that I built, and this will block all unauthenticated. And this is like the one unauthenticated request we should have. So this is a bug. I did update our port to. So one thing that I did update here was we're starting to use environment variables here. So we need to actually update this to run off of environment variable, just so that it's more deployment friendly. So let's go fix these 2 things. Oh, I can't request changes on my own pull request. Why not? Also, you should always do a self review first. Um, Although, actually, a lot of the times, what I do is I actually make the pull request and I put whip on it, and then I self review myself here because this UI is really nice to review in. Um, so like having this, you can do it locally, sure, but especially if it's a bigger pull request, this is really nice. Well, sometimes it's dumb, like showing you that, but it's pretty nice. All right. Let's just fix this up really quickly. We don't want this. This should be free to call. If they want to give us their email, they should give us their email. This here is we need to have this as environment variables. So let's go ahead and get those. We'll actually just get those close to where we use them. I just want to make sure we didn't already get them. Feel like we should have. All right. Yeah, we do have port already somewhere. I knew it. I knew it. Where is it? Here we go. We don't use it until way down here, though, right? Okay. We're just going to move this one down here. Port, all right, and then this is just this. Here we go. There we go. How are your guys' days going? I guess it's morning for Manta, I think. Afternoon, after lunch. Are you in afternoon tea? Do you guys do tea where you are? Were you colonized by Britain too? 2 p.m. Perfect. So your afternoon tea for all of us British colonies. Okay. So I think that fixes my two things. Actually, three. You don't know how to tell time. Okay, so that fixed the two egregious errors I saw there. We configure this to have the SendGrid API key. All right. Let's see. Let's scurry on down here. So this is where we were looking. The SendGrid API is a hot mess. It is a dumpster fire of neglect and intellectual waste. Like, I tried to make their calls work as they were listed, and none of them worked as they were documented. Like, and this is not a comment on the actual design, but this is a disconnect from what they are versus what they're documented as. And like I'm trying to use their it was nothing worked how it was documented to. Literally nothing. So do I put your email in a list? No, it's just as a contact because putting your contact into a list would require me getting your contact after creating it, which would require their API to work. And that's where I wasted so much time on it. Yeah. I could get like random things working, but yeah. Okay, let's see. What are we doing here? This is my Ori middleware. I'm not super proud of this, but I've never used Jin before, and this is making it work with Jin. So basically, we read in the session token. So I couldn't, not easily could I get I basically have to write a some custom logic for Istio to handle this at Istio. I actually like handling it at Istio instead of inside the application, but we're doing it inside the application because it was easier. But this is the middleware for session middleware. Maybe we should log less. I was logging a lot trying to understand. I thought I deleted most of these. So basically, we parse out the session cookie and validate it using the Ori framework. Yeah, I need to actually delete these. The approval to receive emails looks like it's out of 20 or 2003. It's pretty rough. Okay, so I need to delete these. So this validates the session cookie. And basically returns a BORT with a status JSON, which I don't think my API should send you a redirect. I think is what I've come to. I was redirecting here, but this is an API. I should just fail with yeah, actually let's update that because I should fail first we need to just delete all of this garbage. We don't have a session. We need to fail the file. Fail the request. If it was a front end thing, I think redirecting to the front page is the right thing. And maybe the front end decides to redirect based off of this failed call. That's fine. But as a back end API, I shouldn't be trying to send a C other. What status request do I want to send back? Bad request. Please log in first. Maybe we should send a little bit better. Let's see. Failed. I know that there's one for this. What is the status code for failed authorization? Ooh, you can send formatted HTML with SES. I haven't used it for a long time. Status unauthorized. That's what we're going for. What is the status code for that? I forget. 401. That's what it is. I should have known that off the top of my head. This is actually the fun part of doing a project like Eddington. Is the fact that even me and having as many years of experience as I have, I've never worked on every aspect. Actually, one that I've never done is the authorization. It's never been my job to handle users and sessions, so I'm actually learning a lot. Obviously I know what auth2 is, or auth. See, I'm even screwing that up. I know what those things are, and I know even at a high level how they work, but I've never actually implemented using one. The difference between a JWT and session, I've never seen somebody use a session cookie instead of a JWT. These things were pretty new to me. Yeah, so anyways. I don't know that we want to log this. Jin is going to log that this endpoint got called. I feel like as soon as I delete this, we're going, but this is useless. Handling session middleware for request. Jin is going to log what the request was. I think this, we'll see if this is fine, but we got rid of the excess. Cool. All right, so the user controller, let's see, what did we do here? Oh, so this was removing the gRPC server because we did direct communication. We talked about this above. Basically just ripping it all out and doing a direct call. So now instead of getting the user context request, which was this protobuffer, we're just passing in the user ID. Cool beans. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. I just remembered something. Wait. Was it the PHP that you're talking about being painful or session? Because let me tell you, the session cookie there was not what I was thinking of being painful. Okay. So this ORI ID is basically our correlation. We need a way to correlate our internal users to ORI. Now, I've actually been thinking about maybe getting rid of our auto-incrementing ID and just using the ORI ID. Basically, you have to have an ORI ID to have an ID in our system. Yeah, I don't know. So this is just deleting a lot of the Null Cloud deployments. It's making me look like I did a lot. And that's it. It really wasn't too big of a PR. So let's push what we have. Dude, let me tell you, PHP and Perl are probably the two languages that I look at and I'm like, they're rough languages. They're rough languages to read. I don't like they don't read well to me. HTMLX. I saw HTMLX. Is it really bringing PHP back? Is HTMLX really going to bring PHP back? Or HTMX? Because like even if you wanted HTMX, which I always say HTMLX, but my bad. Even if this was something that you wanted to do, would it bring HTML back? I don't think so. Like, I feel like you can still power this without HTML. The Fireship video? Oh, I don't... Real talk. I don't watch a whole lot of tech YouTube. So I'm calling myself out. So if there is one that I should watch, please let me know, because I don't watch a whole lot of it. Let's move on. All right. Let's see here. I will watch the Fireship video. We'll see what HTMX has to do for PHP. Now let's create our deployment file. I know of HTMX, but I don't know why it would bring PHP back. Like, I guess that's what, like, I'm a little confused. All right, let's see. We'll do a new folder for, we have We're going to put all of our base deployment files here. So we probably want to eventually make a Helm chart. I am not a Helm chart person, so I probably won't be making a Helm chart. That will be up to the community if they want a Helm chart. Oh, just in a lot of the comments. Okay. Well, I'll have to read it. I wish my videos got a lot of comments. That's right. You should comment on my videos. Even with like, hey, it's this dude again. Wonder why I keep seeing him on this channel. That's so stupid. Maybe don't comment like I would comment. Okay, so let's create a deployment. Do we want to break it up into... Yeah, let's break each one of these into like the UI deployment, the container runner deployment, and the API. And then we can kind of just mock out some files here really quickly that we can copy and paste across. So let's do, what is this going to be? Let's deployment.yaml. This is we're gonna just do standard deployments for everything. Service.yaml. So it's this is gonna sound weird because this is gonna sound weird. If I could, I would make games for a living. I'm really good at what I do in general, with like engineering stuff. But I'm not really good at game development. One, I don't do it a whole lot. I have made some games. But I would love to make games. I just don't. I'm not sure that I'm good enough at it. Let's see. So we have a deployment and service for the API. That's actually all we need. Container runner is going to be a little bit more fun because this is the operator. Actually, we're going to delete these because we already have Cube Builder builds out some stuff for us that we're going to use. And then for the UI, we're going to do the same. But the UI is going to require virtual services. So if we look at over here, actually, let's just open up GitHub, Null Channel. I don't remember what it's called. Null Cloud deployments. So if you look here, you will need these virtual services. So we're going to need to do this. This is how this gets routed. So if you go to nullcloud.io right here, and you see that this has certificates signed and everything, this is all through these virtual services in Istio. So, and basically we want to route our front end to replace this because this is garbage looking. Dude, so my games would be the games you make memes about. They wouldn't be games made to be memes. They would be the ones memes would be made of. That's I'm afraid that's what they would turn out to be. All right. So we're actually going to steal most of this because we actually just want the new UI to take this place. Yeah. Now, my question here, I don't actually think we want the virtual service to be part of the Eddington code, because again, that's how we deploy it in the Null Cloud. That's how we route it through Istio. So I think the virtual service, but we'll do the service the same way. Yeah. So okay. So this makes sense. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make stuff. If people wanted to deploy it, it's here, and then we're gonna actually use what's here to make the null cloud stuff for it, which is using Argo CD, which is pretty cool. When we update this, the null cloud deployments, it will automatically start trying to make our cluster look like this, which will be scary because it will probably break everything. We had this happen a couple months ago. When you make a lot of big changes like this, it sometimes is difficult. Okay. I think DVD, if I had to be a word of warning, you just said, like as a coder, you're probably not an expert in making 3D assets. That's fine. If you're using AI to shore up on things that you don't know, like I don't know about security, so I'm going to use the AI. My experience so far is that they know less about security than I do. So I wouldn't rely on them to shore up my shortcoming. Just as a word of warning. I've done a lot with these AIs at this point. I would only use it to accelerate what I do know. Now, for 3D assets, yeah, maybe that's an easy way to do it. This is actually another reason I haven't made a game, is I don't know how to do pretty things. And a lot of times games, like, it's like when you play Hollow Knight. Yes, is the gameplay nice? Yes, it has really nice fluid gameplay. But another thing about Hollow Knight is it's just visually appealing. And it has this nice color tones that go throughout it, and what region you're in while you're playing Hollow Knight. And I just don't know that I could do that. The programming, sure, I can probably nail it. Probably. But like making those visually aesthetically pleasing things is difficult. All right. Sorry. Let's get back to this. So we're gonna just copy and paste this. Ooh, don't put the namespace in like this. That's gross. So our UI is going to get the same deployment, because remember, our UI is getting served out of Kubernetes. This is what it's going to need to change, is this right here. Ooh, actually, you know what we didn't do? We didn't tag. Oh, man. Shoot. I messed up. This should be with the SHA, not latest. My bad. All right. I've done this before. I don't remember off the top of my head. GitHub action. Get SHA of commit. Getting current branch and commit SHA. There's a thing in it. There is, yeah. Okay, this is it. I was gonna say they have it. This is all you need. I was gonna say I don't remember. There we go. So we just want to tag this with the SHA. Does this allow us to put multiple tags in there? Because we could tag it with latest as well. Let's see. The name of the GitHub event that triggers the workflow. You could provide a single event. This is not the right place. Let's jump down to here. Maybe I need to do this. It should have quotes around it, right? This should limit me. I don't see. Yeah, this is all I get. Okay. Well, I have no idea. I have no idea. Most games end with custom game engine? I don't think so. If you're saying that you write code to leverage the engine, well, absolutely. All games leverage the engine. If you're saying most games that are built on YouTube, now maybe that, because a lot of those creators like building their own game engine. That's part of the fun, is learning it. It's something I would do, because it's like, let's learn to build a game engine by building a game engine. But if you're talking about most games, they use Unity or Unreal. And if they know what they're talking about, they use Unreal. Even for 2D, which is like pounding splinters up your fingernails. Hades had a custom game engine? I thought it ended up on Unreal. I could be wrong. And now a lot of these games do customize the engine. Like I said, they have like a very unique gameplay aspect that they write into like the engine code, but it doesn't mean that you're just extending an engine at that point. You're just sorry. It's like Frost Giant is making whatever they're making, their new game that's an RTS. They're starting with Unreal, but they're basically building an engine on top of Unreal Engine that is designed for real-time strategy. So that's not making their own engine. But they will have something that is very unique to them. Their engine is going to be much different than just the base Unreal Engine, but they're still leveraging Unreal Engine for like the rendering and things like that. Whereas like I think a lot of it that they're rewriting is like the network for the real-time strategy. Network on real-time strategy is difficult. Okay. So we have the builds here fixed up a little bit. Let's commit that. Actually, that's all I wanted to commit. Fixed. Git push to Docker Hub to include SHA. Cool. Okay. Now we're on to the deployment. I think I was just going to, let's see, take this. So null web is We'll name this. We're gonna just deploy all of this into the Null Cloud namespace, and this should be called like the UI. That's a horrible name. That's a horrible name. Well, we're gonna do that. I don't know how to name stuff. Really don't. So this is getting pushed as Eddington UI, the container is. So that works out well. We don't have a SHA for it yet. I got it. I'm showing it. There is it. Okay, so for link sending, for you, DVD, and Monta, I will add you to the friends list, to the trusted. Don't break my trust. Don't get me banned. I have been trying to set it up a little bit more in case we get more viewers. So it's a little bit safer. But yeah, there's a list of people that are allowed. I'm not a big fan of Nightbot, to be honest. I'm trying it, but we're probably going to end up. Our Twitch alert system is probably going to also end up being our Twitch chatbot as well, because it's very rough around the edges. Like, there's no way for me to, like, if you post another link, Monta, it's going to silence you, and like, I have no control over that. I can't tell it to just not let the people. It's going to silence you, and I can't stop it. I can unsilence you once it happens, but it's going to silence you. It's going to then also delete all the comments that you've posted so far. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. It's annoying. Sorry. Yeah, like, there's no way for me to control those aspects, because I would prefer it just to hold the message, and not do that. Like, I don't have such bad actors yet. Now, maybe in the future I will like that, but like right now that's not useful. Okay, let's get back to this deployment. So that is what we were naming it. I just wanted to make sure that we can pull it. We'll call this Eddington UI, and we don't know what this is, so we're just going to do latest, because this is not our deployment. This is the deployment that, you know, people can pull down and use if they like. Now, while you two are here, I wanted to get your thoughts on something. I want to build this cloud all open source so that people can learn how the problems we have. If we have any fun, interesting problems, I want to make videos about those. I think it's a fun thought experiment, a great learning experience. We're going to get into some harder problems in the future. But I was thinking about the core Eddington project being the MIT or Apache, whichever you like. Actually, Apache, but whatever. And then I was thinking we make a enterprise section with all the bits that are how we manage it ourselves, and making those AGPL from the very start. Basically, how we manage this for a ton of users. That, like, basically how we provide Eddington as a service. So Eddington should be a thing that you can use, and then we provide Eddington as a service for a lot of different people, making that AGPL. So it's still open source, so people can still learn from it, but companies can't actually host it as, like, you can pay us for Eddington. I don't know. I thought I'd ask what you guys would think about that. It's a thought I had. I don't know. Open source is difficult. Down with big corpse. um, it's nothing about big corpse. But at the same time, if people do find value out of it, and we put a lot of work into it, I want to make sure that that's there's a valuable or a viable way for us to do that. But at the same time, you guys have all put in time and effort, so I wasn't going to do anything without consensus on that. And I think it's important to be open source because, like I said, the reason I'm putting so much work into it is, like, for me, if nothing else, people will get to learn from this. I already have a couple videos kind of lined up with some of the things that we've already done. Some scripts already written for people to learn from. So, like, that's a really big deal to me. Yeah. All right, Eddington UI in the namespace Null Cloud. Eddington UI, metadata labels, app Eddington UI, container name Eddington UI. We got the latest, good, limits, memory, boom, boom, boom. You know what? In this one, we can just get rid of the namespace because, like I said, this is just for people. Okay, for the service, let's copy and paste. We don't need that anymore. We'll just grab our default service here. Throw that in here. We will have to think about how we separate, like, what those two repositories look like. Right now, everything's just in here, and that's fine. One thing that I was thinking, like, one thing that's classically I don't think should be in this repository, if you asked me, is this endpoint, this marketing endpoint for SendGrid. This is literally just Null Cloud. Like, this is just for the Null Cloud. It's not part of a Eddington runtime. Like, if you're running this yourself, you don't want to send yourself marketing emails. So, like, I think this shouldn't be in this. But it's also one piece of the puzzle that people can learn from, because if they've never done a marketing thing, like, it's a cool thing to learn from. How do you set it up, and how do you manage it, and how do you do those things? So, Mr. Fuzz, what's up? What's up? How are you doing? All right, so we're just gonna keep on going. So this is the API. So I believe this was called Eddington API in the container build. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Awesome. Glad you're doing well. Container point 3000. I don't think that was what we want. We're gonna go with 8080 here. Doing pretty well. We've gotten a ton of work done on Eddington. All the pieces are fitting together. I'm not sure if we'll get them to all fit together today, but that's kind of the hope and goal and plan, is to get them to start to fit together. We're kind of deploying stuff and fixing the code as we deploy stuff. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Eventually somebody's going to want to this is wrong here. Eventually we're going to want to have a Helm chart, because people seem to love Helm. That is not a me thing, so definitely not a thing that I'm doing. But eventually somebody will do a Helm chart. We're working on the base charts that those Helm charts would be built off of anyways. So, yeah. How am I working on with the environment variables? Oh, good point. Good point. Well, let's do that right now. We need environment variables here, so we'll do a config map here. Let's grab another config map that we already wrote. This is how I do Kubernetes manifest files. Maybe not the best way of doing it, but I just steal stuff I already have done. You know what? That's over here. Let's code. I just wrote a config map for the Twitch alerts. Which, if you guys want to see an interesting problem that I have not solved yet. Russell and I worked on it for like 2 hours yesterday. I can show you an interesting problem, but let's see. There is a config map over here. Yeah. Here's a, well, is that a good one? Wait. The environment variable for front end will need to be in the GitHub action since the environment variable ends up as part of the bundled code with the image build. So you don't want an environment variable in the container. You want it to be part of the container. So basically, the way that I do it, like even with this, these are all mounted as environment variables. So if you look at this, like this secrets are just config maps that are opaque. And then you look here, in this deployment, you can see that I mount every single one of these as a environment variable inside the container or inside the pod. Is this not what you're asking for? Oh, I see what you're talking about. You're wanting the front. Oh, okay. For the build. For the. I see. Okay. Got it. We'll work on that. Good reminder. I forgot about that. I hate front ends. 100%. I forgot about that. We'll make some environment variables in GitHub. I have not made those. You're not talking about these. Okay. So, Mr. Fuzz, what do you think about HTMX? Do you think it's going to cause the rise of PHP? That's what we were arguing about earlier today. Maybe we should have a poll on it. Let me grab this. Oh, you don't know what HTMX is? It's the next thing to revolutionize front-end development. Next thing to revolutionize front-end development. So I like checking these secrets.yaml so people know what secrets there are. Now remember, if you're making this a secret, these have to be base 64 encoded before you put them in here. If you put not base 64 encoded, you're just screwed. You've done it wrong. You've done screwed up. Oh, good, Mr. Fuzz. You're welcome here. I also hate the front end. The front end is the worst. It's also what sells your application. So yeah. All right, we need send grid API key. Okay, so we just need, I think all I need right now is the send grid. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. We need a new config map. Did we make a config map? Yeah, we did. Config map. Move that there. We're just gonna steal this config map right here. You know what? We're just going to, yeah, we're just gonna copy and paste this one. The secrets. We actually kind of screwed this up though. We need to have this in there. I think I deleted it. but this is kind of secret. There we go. Beautiful, actually, and I think this should be up here. I don't know who put that down there. That's much better. Okay, so now we're just going to copy and paste this. This is going to be Eddington Secrets. This is what the Null Cloud is going to solve for people. You know how much programming and mental effort I have to go put into deploying this? Imagine if we didn't have to do all of these steps right here. Imagine if we didn't. Okay, that was really nice of you, but okay, whatever. It kind of did it all for me, but that was interesting. Kind of screwed me up. Mr. Fuzz. What? All front ends start to look the same as ChatGPT trains itself on ChatGPT front ends. This is the problem that AIs are going to get into. I call it AI self-poisoning. I know AI poisoning is a separate thing, but I was the first to call this out a year ago about how AIs were going to poison themselves. Spain, I am honored that the country came and is watching. What's up? How are you doing? We have some very spicy takes going on in chat right now. Hopefully you're not a front-end engineer, because Mr. Fuzz just insulted all front-end engineers simultaneously. Full stack engineers, front-end engineers, maybe some back-end engineers that have dabbled in front-end. All right, let's see. We have a config map. What were we? Oh, we have a port. Also, if you haven't done a whole lot of YAML before, I implore you to quote everything. That's going to save you a lot of heartache in the future. I've been meaning to make a video entitled "You Suck at YAML," because yeah. Spain? Well, welcome. We do a lot of stuff for learning. So sometimes I've been called a bit didactic, but that's because I started my YouTube channel, which is linked in the description of Twitch. I started all of this to help people. So I sometimes talk a little too much about the subjects and not get enough done. DVD, what tip did I give? You know, I call you DVD because there's no way I try to pronounce your Twitch name. Your Discord name is easier. When you're in a bad mood, I call you CD. Oh, yeah. So, you know what? An interesting thing here is if you like do something like port and then you do this. Let me show you one. If you do this for a port, is it a string or is it a port, or what is it? Well, if you were in YAML 1.1, which is actually still used even though it's a 10-year-old spec, this would actually be a binary number. If you are in YAML 1.2, it would be a string. The safest thing is just to quote them. It's a string. Now it's a string. And you don't get any funny business. YAML 1.2 is better, but it's still weird, and a lot of things still support YAML 1.1. Oh, well, thank you for pointing that out. All my advice still holds true. Just put it in the data. Thanks for calling that out. Thanks, Monta. What's up, Spain? What question? There's a bunch of experts here. We have Mr. Fuzz, expert in machine learning or how to use ChatGPT. Fire away. If your question is how do I get rich quickly, I can't answer that. I'm still working on it, which I guess means that it's slow. I can easily write small programs that are about 100 lines of code without struggling. For school, I have made a fair share of CRUD projects involving C#. When I Google project ideas, most of the projects are X management system, where X could be financial, inventory, school, library, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do these. What are some intermediate projects that I could do over the summer that would take me at least a month to complete? So let me be real. Time framing it like that is difficult, especially from my point of view, because... and this is something you'll learn eventually. What takes me a month might take somebody else 2 months, might take somebody else 1 week. Somebody that, it can even come down to how fast can you type. Not that that's really important, but it's a big deal. Struggling with larger programs is classic. And one of those things is organizing your program. If you're struggling with big programs, it's probably because the programs aren't organized in a very sane way. I don't mean that as an insultive way. I'm saying it as like, this is one of those things that you learn to do. So look at this. Here's our API server. If you notice, I actually have a different folder for different controllers, different routes. So it's actually really easy to keep in mind, because here's all the paths for our application endpoints. If I want to talk about users, I can go to the users endpoint and I can look at the controller and see all of the endpoints here for a user. So anyways, that's one of the ways that I would say it really helps to organize your code. Why you see a lot of people talk about code organization and things like that is because it makes understanding large code bases easier. And it's hard for everyone. There's nobody that gets into a large code base and doesn't spend if I get hired to work at a company on a large code base, it will take me time to understand the large code base. What you can do is understand a small chunk. Say, hey, there's a lot going on in the Eddington project here, but I'm going to take this UI portion and I'm going to understand it. And then you can start to understand other parts of it. And in some large projects, like I contribute to Kubernetes every once in a while, I don't understand every part of it. I only understand the small part I need to know. Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot of C# experience, except what we did for the AI games, which are still going on. Yeah, I don't have a ton of C#, but it's a fine language. There's no problem in that learning that language. Go for it. Learn whatever helps you get going, whatever you find nice. I think C# looks nicer than Java. It looks kind of the same though, so pick your poison. What was I doing? I was doing deployments. Okay, so we have our port and host. Was there anything else that we used in here? I feel like the answer is no. We have the secret, but we already covered that. Let's see. Where was I going here? So let's just do a get env. We do prox. Ori domain. So we probably want to put this in the secret, because this is gonna have our project slug in it. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's actually secret. I think the project slug isn't something we have to be, because it's actually where authentication and stuff will happen. Now I think we need to set this up to our own domain. I think that this in production should look something like null cloud.io/auth, right? I think this is what it should look like in. Something like this, it should be the production URL, yes? So I don't think it needs to be in a secret. So yeah, so Spain, the model view model is a very common way to structure, especially in Java or not Java, in Java and C Sharp. It's a very classic model for modeling stuff because it helps you keep separations of concern. It's also generally a logical way to think about it. You have your presentation layer, you have your data layer. I'm a little bit less. I think it's very good to follow patterns strictly when you're very new because you don't understand when they're good and when they're getting in your way. I think that's one thing that senior engineers very often don't explain well to junior developers when it's like, yeah, but we don't necessarily follow that. And there's maybe a reason. Go, this is Go. It doesn't follow that specifically because it's not as object oriented. I say not as object oriented. You can kind of do object oriented, but it's much more of a procedural language. So it doesn't lend itself directly to that, but we follow a very similar pattern where we can. I do believe that you should have a constant that contains your secret so that you don't have to use the OS every time you need an environment, and when you put them in one place, you will have to check if you're working on. I don't know what you're saying, Monta. I'm sorry. So this is just on startup. It pulls these. Now we can do like a .env file here. Do we have one? No, we don't. We can do one. But so these are defaults. So basically, if you don't set them, it's going to be looking for development. So basically, this is what this is saying is for dev. If you don't set these, it's going to look at localhost. So like you're looking at the Ori proxy. If you do set them, you can set them to whatever you want, which is what we're doing. And that way you don't have to have the .env file. Oh, I could let's do that. We'll create a struct to hold all the. I do it, and maybe this is bad. I'm good with it being the bad thing. I do it whenever I need something, so I get but then I also do it here. I know a lot of times people do all of this at the top, which is probably fine. I just get it when I need it. And this is okay here. I know that I'm not checking if it's empty, but that's because this does. So if it's empty, it gets an in-cluster config, so it's fine. I know it looks I know it looks bad, but it's not. But it's not. Okay, so we can do that. I'm making the things right now. So, all right, Ori proxy port is something we need. Oh, this is garbage here. There we go. We're just gonna put in some default values here. Okay. Ori domain. There's also some good projects in Go that I just haven't included. So you can do like command line flags. Part of me thinks that they're overkill for a service. A lot of times it's like command line applications. So you can use a service like Viper, or a project like Viper. Yeah. Does that make sense, Spain? As far as what you're thinking about for a project, let me ask you a question. Can you list out your 5 favorite interests? Give me your top 5 things, whether it be hiking, scuba diving, playing computer games, watching Twitch. Give me your 5 biggest interests. All right, we have our Ori domain, our Ori proxy port. Cube config we don't need because we'll use the in-cluster config is what I'm banking on. We will put it in here just because people might want, like, this kind of is our way of saying, like, the environment variables you can set. What we're going to do is this. In cluster config. You can mount it. I'm sorry. What did you say that to? There's a delay between when I see what you. Even if I'm looking at the chat, there's a delay. I can mount it. Mount what? Yes, you can mount the kube config. So, like, if you're running outside of Kubernetes, when I run the API, this is how I run it, like this. So you'll see I give it a kube config of .cube/config, go run. Because otherwise, if I just ran it like this, go run, it won't work. But you're right that I can mount it inside of that container if I wanted a special kube config, which maybe in the future we will do. You know, we want to give it access, maybe, possibly, and this is actually the cool thing, maybe we want it to have access to a data plane Kubernetes cluster. So a lot of the times what you'll have is a control plane Kubernetes cluster and a data plane, because you don't want network traffic to mix. You want basically the data plane to be its own thing. And so you'll separate it out that way, and then you will need to mount in a kube config. Absolutely. All right, so I think this is all we need for the API. Won't it be nice when the Null Cloud's out there and people don't have to do this anymore? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And we have host and port. Okay. Oh, shoot, I screwed this up. Another fix. All right, let's marketing controllers marketing. They weren't really errors, but we fixed them up. We made an error fixing them up, and then yeah. Let's walk over this deployment file. So we have a config map that basically sets us up for development. We have a development deployment that's going to take the latest image. We have a secret that has our SendGrid API key. And then we have a service that exposes it. This is going to be a node port. That's the default port for Kubernetes. In ours, we're going to have a service, but we'll have a virtual service as well. All right. So for the container runner, basically what I want to do for the container runner. I don't think Spain, are you still there? Did you not like my my advice so far? Gotta tell me what your interests are. I'm actually gonna try to help you. If you give me your interests, I will give you an application idea. It's not gonna make you money, but it will help you learn. I have been down this path. I have done this. This is actually how I taught myself to code. I was really big into the game of 7 Wonders, which is kind of complicated to score. So my very first application was a 7 Wonders scorekeeper that calculated your score for you. All right, so for the container runner, we actually have everything already. So what we're going to do, controversially here, because I know people will, is we're going to make a customization.yaml. Watch this. We already keep how we kind of want to deploy it over here in we'll leave that open. Authentication, authorization, application, container runner. Where is this? Config. All right, so we're going to take this. We don't want this specifically, but what we're going to do is instead of this here, we need to actually give ourselves a relative path. So we're going to go back 1. That's going to be in deployment. From deployment, we're going to go back 1 more time. Then we're going to go into application. Then we're going to go into container runner. Then in config, we have to deploy our CRD here. So we'll do config CRD, and that's going to run this customization. Cool. We're going to take this. We're going to do another one because I believe we need to do this as well. Oh, maybe actually we can just run the default because that's going to run CRD, RBAC, and man. Oh, beautiful. This is what we're doing. We're doing default. Okay, I screwed this up. I screwed that up. Well, Spain, if you do rejoin, if you have bad internet, let me know what your favorite activities are. 5, top 5. Be like Cody. As we all saw, Cody really likes to give you 5 code smells. All right. Okay, so this is just going to apply the default. And I think we're good here. Yeah? All right. I think we're good. Let's get Monta. We need deploy our environment variables. I don't remember them off the top of my head. I'm going to look back through Discord right now. That's another thing you can do is join the Discord. Control PP. Oh. Does it use like Vim key bindings? Can I go up and down? No, I can't. Control P. What's up? No, cancel that. Control P. What's up? How do I go back up? I guess I could just use the arrow keys if I need to go back up. Cool. I didn't know that. Nice. I learned something. I need to do a Mighty Mindy Monday on keyboard shortcuts that I don't know right now. I need to learn them. All right. So we have a problem. We need to put some environment variables in for our UI run right here. arrow keys are lame though, because like my hand's not over by the arrow keys. So like it'd be great to try have something that lets me go back up. I can also type. Oh, okay. Cool, cool. Nice. I like it. All right, so we need to get environment variables into this this right here. Let's see. Now, what I don't know is I can give it this context. Let's actually look up this build push action again. Docker build push. It's actually weird because like this Docker build push actually like clones your code. You'll also notice like I didn't clone the code. Like it actually clones the repo. I found it weird. Oh wait, Docker GitHub action build push. Yeah, so they use checkout, so we're going to use checkout. Well, I didn't use checkout because they said you didn't need to use checkout, but I'm going to use checkout. We're logging in now. What I want to know is if I can give environment variables to this. So like this context is where you're, I think I can just do like just an env on this action. I think I should be able to, and that should work, right? Let's just do that. So we're doing on this UI one, we're just going to do so it's vite base URL. And then we do I think there's a better way to do it. You can create a secret, put all the environments in one secret. It will treat it as a file, then pipe the secret into the .env under UI file. Wait, I don't know how to do what you're doing. That sounds like magic. And it sounds great, but it also sounds like magic. You'll take a screenshot? Okay, so do you know what? While you're taking a screenshot, I'm all out of coffee, and it's not afternoon tea time. So I'm going to go make myself a cup of coffee. While you're getting a screenshot, I'll look forward to that on Discord. So give me 10 minutes. Everybody should go stretch their legs. You shouldn't sit for too long. You know what we made? See, DVD is out of coffee too. This is a sign. We're coffee drinking buddies. Now, what we're going to do is we wrote this last Saturday on stream because we needed it, and so here we go. This is pretty amazing. I don't know if you guys remember this because some of you don't join stream every Saturday. Like it's like you guys have lives. I don't appreciate it. I wish everybody didn't have a life like me. We have too many folders. Too many folders is what we have. Where the crap did I put this? Not there. Not there. Where was this? Discord bot Eddington. I want to say it was under like. What did I call it? We wrote Python. Everybody was excited. I wrote Python for them. It was pretty rough. No, no, this was actually fun Python. This was fun Python, but I don't know where it went. We made an animation. It's not under animations. Not under assembly line, ChatGPT. Oh wait, no, maybe it is under ChatGPT because ChatGPT helped me make it. Diesel, Discord bot, Eddington, elevators, examples. Not under examples. Nope. Flutter, GoGen, GPT things. Maybe it's GPT things. That is a horrible name. Horrible name. GPT things. What was I thinking last night? Okay. Well, we're just going to run the Python. There we go. There we go. We have our own. I don't know why it's called GPT things. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to make some coffee. I will see you guys in like 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and I will see you guys in a second. And back. And back. We need to work on this Python a little bit, but you know what? It's a really pretty fantastic. All right. Let's really quickly name this not GPT things. Yeah, well, that will be better. All right, let's jump into the secret thing. All right. Hmm. So you're just using this file to not do things like this right here. Do you think that's really cleaner than this here? I guess what you're doing is putting it in all of these, but not all of them need it. You won't have to. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, you won't have to update the action to have a new. Seems a little bit like magic, like something a front end engineer would do. But we'll give it a try. Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. So we can delete this. And then what we're going to do is what I'm calling pulling a monta. Actually, name set env. So and then all we just need is the run here. I was just going to make it for everything. It wasn't going to be under. Oh, because the context. Yeah, you're right. You're right. This is a little weird then. Yeah, that stinks. Okay. I don't like it as much now, but we'll still do it. I'm just going to do it just before this. That did not work out nearly as I had planned. All right, this is one thing coding AI is really annoying me with. I'm stuck. I can't get out of this. It's like, no, I want you to do this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it, but I can't go left, right. I have to go up and down first. Gets me every single time. See ya, Monta. All right, so yeah, this is not, we don't want the, we want, what do we want? We want a secret here. So we'll just do dot, we'll just call this front end. And then we'll do that. So I think that's what we're doing, and then we'll go ahead and go into GitHub and create. I don't think these are secret. The base URL and the ORI URL, I don't think they're secret. Because these are where you log in. These are the authentication. You can get them from the request if you wanted to. So I don't think they're actually secret. Maybe I'll cone of silence you anyways, just in case. Just in case. Okay. Cone of silencing you, just in case. I did make a lot of these beforehand, but so we're making the secret, and in here we need our Vite, not white, Vite base API URL. And our Vite ORI URL. All right, and I think for production, yeah, these aren't private, because this is going to be HTTPS null cloud.io, and this is going to be HTTPS null cloud.io/auth. I think that this I think this is what these are supposed to be. I'm gonna show because like these aren't secret or anything. These are just going to be our base. This is where the API is going to come in. I guess actually the base API URL is API here. So I guess that's fair enough. Okay, so yeah, it's not really a secret. We could have done this as a environment variable. I did it as a secret instead of a variable, but you know what? Better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. All right. So I guess we'll see if this works. We'll see if this works. It could not. Let's commit that. All right. Let's see. Let's just do the GitHub workflow. GitHub workflows. No. Updated GitHub action to support light env bars. All right, and then we are just going to do all the other ones. Git add, git status. These were just all small fix-ups to like environment variable parsing and things like that. And oh no, these are all just the deployments. Git commit -m deployment files for editing. Beautiful. We're gonna push this. Okay. Well then, I think honestly, we're good to merge all this to the main branch, which is when we push the main branch, we're going to run this action and we're going to see if it works. We're going to see if it works. And then we can start actually making the Argo CD config for this. Is there anything else that we need to do? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is good. I think this is good. I did just fix that. So sometimes I do this, which is like remove me. Oh, yeah. And if you want to get really really fun, you can like actually move it up to where you were doing the things, but I'm just gonna squash it into the one before it. It will be fine. All right, let's check this pull request out now. We're gonna remove whip off of this. I feel like 72 files changed is the perfect number for a good old force merge. Okay. I meant to merge it. I don't know why I came back out here. Look good to me. Bam. Are we gonna wait for these? Wait. What is it building? It's not running this. What's called build? DVD? Welcome back. You know, I say welcome back, but I'm pretty sure you called my coding the be right back screen unnecessary, and it was completely necessary because every good stream has an animated be right back stream. That's like the hallmark of a good stream. How do you know that your stream didn't just freeze? You know what would maybe be good is some music. Maybe I should do some music. That's another hallmark of a fantastic stream. You know what I have? I have some Spotify right here. Some copyright free lo-fi Spotify music. I didn't know you were a graphic designer. Oh yeah, I think that's playing like right over me. I don't know. That looks pretty weird. Oh man. It's playing in from my microphone. I don't even know how. Okay, we're not going to do that. Listen to your own music. Get some music on. I think maybe it's actually getting like looped in by like, okay, so what I think is happening is it's actually playing the music out to my audio interface, and the audio interface is playing it back in to the thing. I'll have to work on that. I did actually think I would play around with getting some music. I don't know. I go back and forth on whether I do music or not, because part of me says that you guys would listen to whatever music you want to listen to in the background. So like just go do that. But then a lot of streams have a music. And I wish that honestly, I wish I could stream 2 tracks and you guys could mute the music track if you didn't want to listen to the music. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's see how this action crashes and burns. This is the one we want to watch. I guess instead of watching this, we could actually start working on the Argo CD. Do you guys know what Argo CD is? So the entire Null Cloud, even as it is right now, is operated by Argo CD, which is a pretty fantastic. Yeah, it is a CI/CD kind of. It's not your classical CI/CD. So a lot of times, like, yeah, I don't actually use it to run tests. You can use it to run tests. That's a fair thing. Generally, I run my tests before I get to the Argo CD part, but you could run your whole thing through it. But it runs on Kubernetes, and the cool thing is it will watch a Git repository, and basically you can have it deploy the application. So that is what we're going to do. We actually have this repository over here. Let's open. Is it in my recent? It's probably not in my recent. All right, we'll just open the folder. It's actually named better than my animations. So let's open a folder here. And let's go to our... It is storming outside. Sorry, there was just like a lot of thunder. So here's our Null Cloud deployments, and this describes declaratively our entire deployment. And you basically make these apps. So we have a cert manager app that deploys cert manager. You have an infrastructure app that deploys our infrastructure. I have a few other things. This is the Null website, which deploys the Null website. And you can see the repo URL here is this, which is the deployments. And we're going to, the deployments, null web overlays prod. So, we could do this. We can go to deployments, null web overlays prod. And we can see what we're deploying. We're deploying this right here. We have a deployment, we have a gateway, we have a customization that is actually the thing deploying all these things. We have a service and a virtual service. The cool thing is, basically, if we wanted to update the version of our web, we update this and we make a commit. And then Argo CD will work to rectify the change. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And you can do that in overlay. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can use Helm as well. I do believe we install Cert Manager with Helm now. No. Okay, so this is a thing that people wanted me to change, is that we should use Helm for Cert Manager. I acquiesced. We will. We can use Helm to install Cert Manager instead of using this awfulness. So that's something we can change. So that's Argo CD. It gives you a UI that if I remember the password to, we could log into, but I don't, so we can't log into it. Where you could see the whole deployment if if it worked. We're going to rename this. We're going to use the Null Web, but we're going to rename this to Null Cloud. Because it's not just the website anymore. It's going to be our entire cloud deployment. It's going to be here. Let's jump over to... Now, we changed this, which does mean that we need to change our Null Web. We're going to rename this from Null Web to... Oh, this is going to break stuff, unfortunately. If we're renaming this to Null Cloud as a deployment, and we're going to rename this to Null Cloud, and this to Null Cloud, and the namespace is going to be the Null Cloud namespace. So we're going to deploy everything in the Null Cloud into the Null Cloud namespace. That's kind of the control plane there. All right. We'll shush kebab it. I don't with the Null Cloud because the URL is nullcloud.io, which is why I was actually being consistent in not shish kebabbing it. But if this makes you happier, we'll do this. It doesn't matter. I was just doing it based off of the name of the actual URL. But like you're right in here. Most of these things were kebabbed, so you feel unhappy either way. So file naming, generally separating words is kebabbed. So I think it's fine this way. We'll need to rename this. All right. Now, we have a little bit more to go in the base now. This is the Null Web, but we also now have the API, and we have the container runner. So each app kind of gets its own little folder in here. And instead of in here where we were just calling the Null Web, which we really need to rename to... I'm trying to stop putting null in front of everything because this is in the Null Cloud, so like no need to put null in it. This will be the UI. So we have the UI needs to get built. We have the API needs deployed, and we have the container runner. And this is actually completely the same for dev as well. I actually don't have a dev environment yet, so dev is prod and prod is dev. It's really the best way to do everything is just test it in prod. What could go wrong? The Null Cloud was down for like 2 weeks because of this, but what could go wrong? That's my favorite saying. Hey mom, watch this. All right, so our UI is going to continue this way, but we actually are changing images. This is now the Eddington UI. We don't know this yet until it actually succeeds over here. It did see. I did not expect this to succeed. Honestly, I don't think I have ever made a GitHub action that works on the first try. So honestly, I don't expect the images to be in Docker Hub. I have a unhealthy relationship with my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. It built them. I need to believe in myself. You have not screwed up nearly as many times as I have, obviously. All right, so we can get the tag name now. Why do I use tag names? I get this asked a lot instead of a version. If you are doing so a version is super powerful if you're releasing to other people. For this, I am not releasing a version of Eddington. That would be like a packaged bundled something. That would be like a Helm chart. And a Helm chart would have very specific versions of the components in it. But each component really doesn't get versioned itself if you're doing like continuous delivery. And so I think what's really nice is this is actually the SHA of the Git commit. So if you look, all of these should actually be the same. So this E75D, because it's the same Git repository, if you go over here, you can see it's the E75, because this way, when you go into production and there's something wrong and you look at the container itself, you know exactly what code it was built by. Exactly what code. You don't have to look for a tag that tags can move. So like if you have tag 1.0, that tag can actually move. Now maybe you're strict and they don't move and you retag or something like that. But this just gives you literally the SHA of the code. I think it's a beautiful way of doing it. Successfully built on the first try? Unheard of. Yeah. Especially GitHub Actions, because there's no way to actually do it locally. That's why I'd like to work more on assembly line, because that's like assembly line should be the exact same as it is when you commit locally versus upstream. But that's a lot of work and I don't have the time for that right now. Okay. So our deployment is Eddington UI, that null web. No, it's not the null web. This is not the right namespace. So let's change this to UI. We're going to Eddington UI. So there is a thing called ACT for local GitHub action testing. So yeah, you can look up the project called ACT. It's a thing. It has problems though, because it doesn't. So for me, if your user has access to the environment variables, so if you have permissions to set those things. You should also be able to run the action locally with those environment variables. And you should be able to set like dev environment variables as well, like local environment variables. But Act doesn't have a way to pull those. So if you do use environment variables, you have to like manually inject them when you run. And it requires a ton of work and overhead. The other thing is, Act is not GitHub Actions. It is something that people wrote to emulate GitHub Actions. So in my experience, it's not it's useful, but not that useful. Especially because like when you're looking at the stuff that we've already done, we're talking about setting a bunch of environment variables that we'd have to then also replicate locally and some stuff like that. All right. So Null Cloud. This is correct. This is correct. Now the only thing that we haven't done so far is routed to the API. So we're going to have to update the gateway, and maybe the gateway shouldn't be in the UI itself. I'm thinking this gets moved out. All right, so let's see. The application is this. Boom. The virtual service is this. And then we'll just do Eddington UI. Monta, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. First try. First try. It built. I was going to say, Monta, were you talking about me or you? Definitely not me. So, sorry about the ads. I can't do anything about the ads. I actually told them to push ads as much as possible. It's not like I make ads from Twitch. I probably make like 20 cents per month. I would prefer not to have the 20 cents. Okay. So we have our containers, and we're just now updating the actual deployment to be, to be. To be. Okay, so I think what we need to do is actually put in a new folder here, and basically, I'm going to just call this networking. I'm not sure if this is the right way to do this, but I got to think fast on stream. If this was work, it would probably be a little bit more like, let me go think about this for 2 hours. I do that a little bit more. But I also like to just fly by the seat of my pants and learn a little bit. So in this networking, what we really want to do here is do the gateway. You know what? We don't have to make a new file because we already have it. It's in UI. I wasn't going to put the virtual services in there. I think this is good. But the gateway, because the gateway is going to do a couple things. So it handles our HTTP and HTTPS. It handles our hosts. It handles our certificates as well, which is pretty cool. And then our services, our virtual services, basically just latch on to those. Now, what we need to do is we need to make a virtual service for the API. So let's do that. Now, I need to Google this. I don't touch this nearly enough. Istio virtual service spec. So what we want to do is basically we want to say for this service here, we basically want it to only work for null cloud.io/API. But I think there's a route spec where we can leave this as all hosts. And then I think we can do route like this, but I need to look it up. And I think maybe we do that here. But I don't know exactly. I need to look it up. I don't know exactly how we. So the address by which the client is connecting to. So multiple ones can. This is where it's the URI prefix. Okay. It's actually postfix. Rewrite URI. Let's see. Route destination. All right. So here is okay. They say prefix here. Don't they mean post fix? I need to see what the actual route here. Let's see. The following example inconvenient routes all HTTP traffic by default to pods of the review service with a label version v1. In addition, HTTP requests with a path of string this or this will be rewritten to new catalog and sent to pods labeled v2. Oh, okay. So this is doing the rewriting. Cool. I don't want to do the rewriting. I just want to specify the URI, because what it is basically anything under slash this over here. Anything under /API should hit this virtual service and not this virtual service. This virtual service should take anything from the root, and this one, watch this. I can do my PP. Not quite safe for. Yeah, well, I do apologize for the ads. Thank you. You probably made me 5 cents. I don't know exactly. It won't tell me for a few days, but I probably made like 5 cents. So it's covering not even the electricity I use to stream. Okay, so destination indicates. Okay, let's see. I don't want rewrite. Can I have an example without rewrite? Why does every... Am I on the rewrite? Is this like... I thought that this was just... Okay. I think we are only supporting TLS, so let's might be that. Should we try ChatGPT? Let's try ChatGPT. Kind of silence really quickly. ChatGPT. Can you please write me an virtual service that routes traffic from Null Cloud.io/API to my API service. So, DVD, I cannot try Bing Web because I have to be using Edge. Did I install Edge? One second. I might have installed Edge. Edge. No, I didn't. You have to have Edge. Maybe I should install Edge just so I can Bing chat it. I feel like Bing chat it does not sound appropriate. Join me on Bing chat. Like, would you join a service that was called Bing chat? I don't think so. I wouldn't. Okay, so it's just doing the match and then route. So it's just not rewriting. Okay, so I was just reading into it too much. I'm going to assume. So under the HTTP, they're saying just match on this. Uh-oh, Monta doing the links again? Can't believe you. I can't believe you. Let's fix that. Let's fix that right now. We're going to fix it right now. Cone of Silence. Nightbot. Log in. Done. All right. Regulars. This is how you get permission. I was gonna say Nightbot is about to eat you out of existence. One second, we're gonna fix this. Monta TMNT. There we go. Add another user. XEPHYRHILLSS. Done. One second. Let me make sure I spelled that correctly. All right. You should be able to post links now as regulars. Now, I wouldn't do it right yet. I just don't know. You tested it right away. There you guys go. There you guys go. I was going to say, Monta, if you do it twice in a row, that's when it starts yeeting. That's when it starts. That's when it gets. That's what Russell found out. He did it like twice in a row. And it was just like, nope, you're out of here. Oh. Okay, yeah. This is what we figured out. We have our prefix API. Looks good. This should be Eddington API. Yeah, Russell does get to be the guinea pig. He's pretty fantastic like that. The nice thing is he doesn't get overly offended when we're like, all of a sudden, where did all of your chat messages go? As it literally deleted him from existence on the chat, silenced him so he couldn't chat anymore. Oh, it was pretty amazing. Also, its silence was for like 24 hours or something. Now, that was configurable, so your silence is now shorter for the second offense, but I couldn't stop it from silencing you. Skynet bot. That's the next Skynet bot. That's what ours. I feel like Skynet is what you're used to saying. So like I read Sky Nightbot, but I said Skynet bot because I haven't even watched those movies. Okay, like as lame as that sounds, because I know like they're a big part of 90s culture. I never watched them. Calling myself out. I watched a little bit of something with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and I never thought he could act. He was like a walking rock. I don't mean that super offensively. The dude's buff. Or was buff. I don't know what he looks like now. All right, so this should work. Prefix API, we're going to route this way. Looks good. We're going to keep all hosts. We probably should change this because in theory, we could actually have separate hosts, but right now the Null Cloud Gateway just signs certificates for the Null Cloud. So one of the things we could do is like a data plane with its own like a lot of the times you'll see data planes that look something like this, where it's like null cloud data plane ncd.io. So it's definitely possible. Okay, let's move on. We have our virtual service for our API. Now we need our deployment. I think we can just copy and paste pretty much everything in here, except for the virtual service. Okay, so just these. Those look perfect. Let's update these now. All right, we're not doing this garbage. Okay. Did we update this to be? Oh. So I think we can just delete these because if we don't give a namespace, we gave the application in Argo CD a namespace, so Argo CD should try to deploy it to that namespace. That's my understanding, and I'm sticking with it. This is the Eddington API container port. I don't think this is right. I don't think that's right, but we can look. $8080, is that what we gave it? I guess it's really whatever the config map is set to, which is 8080 by default. So we'll just go with 8080. And then this is API. Looks good. Looks good. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I did this in the wrong file. Save that. This is in the UI. My bad. Close that down. We need to be here. All right. My goodness. Sometimes my copying and pasting gets me in so much trouble. One second. I want to make sure I didn't screw up. Yeah, I did. I did screw it up. Tson? What about... Oh my gosh. JSONnet? What about YAML? What about Tson? What about the list goes on. The list goes on. So Tson is basically almost Oh, the Nginx. So you don't need to run that container on port 80 because Ingress is going to take care of that. Ingress is on port 80 or 443. So like you don't have to worry about what port it is, because that will be handled by the termination of this gateway. So I mean that's nice. I also terminate TLS here, so it's then just HTTP on the back end. We should have mutual TLS in the future, not right now. You're right. YAML, JSON, TOML don't really enforce configuration specs in any meaningful way. I agree. I think I actually prefer configuration as code. I wish more people, I hate Lua as just like a general purpose language, but I wish more people would take the configuration of something like this. So watch this. Vim config so basically WesTerm has these strong types. I say strong types, but like they have these types in Lua, and you can basically configure them in code. It's amazing. That's actually what I wanted to do with assembly line, is make it where you actually, instead of Lua, but instead of YAML, you could use code. So you could do like a for loop and spit out a bunch of configurations. It's so much more powerful. I agree. Also, having the types is super helpful. Okay, this is not what we need to do. Okay. So we've hit the API. We're going to move the service now. Okay, so target port is 8080. We're going to update the service over here because you said the target port was 80 on that container. But this is where, Monta, you don't need to expose it on port 80 here, because this service can map port 80 to whatever port you want. And this virtual service can map it as well. All right. Last thing we need to do is our operator. This, I don't know if there's a better way than just copy these files over. I think that's what I'm going to do for the time being. I'm going to take applications, container runner, and we're going to take all this. We don't need samples. Not you. Did I get everything there? I don't think I did. Yeah, I feel like I selected a lot more than that to copy and paste. I feel like I just got CRD. 1 second. Let me try this again. Oh, I just opened CRD. Okay, I got it all. Never mind. All right, so now instead of container runner, we're gonna leave this one just because we're almost done, and I just want to knock it out of the park here. So usually I have like these dev and prods, but since we don't have, yeah. Instead of container runner, we want container runner default. We really should have prod and staging, but this is fine. Okay. Let's see, API. If we jump into API, yeah, that's just going to deploy that. If we jump into UI, it's going to deploy this. And there's a customization that says to deploy those things. Oh, the last thing that we need to do is we need to make a customization for the networking because there's nothing that runs this right now. All right, so our GitHub action worked. First try. First try. Do we think that this will work first try? Do we think this right here will work first try? I'm going to tell you it's not going to work the first try because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that we screwed stuff up renaming everything because we renamed everything, which the only reason this might screw stuff up is because it's going to try to update, but it's updating a different thing now. So this might give us an orphaned application. That's like our best case. Our worst case is that there's worse, that it actually breaks. All right, so we have the namespace is the Null Cloud. I don't know if it will create the namespace for me. I'm actually almost positive it won't. We can do namespace. You can do like a thing to deploy namespaces, but I don't want to worry about that right now. If I all of a sudden stop streaming, it's probably because we lost power. It is thundering like it does in the spring. I live in the you know, it's called the Midwest. I don't know why because I'm on the East, but if you say Middle East, people think the Middle East. So don't go with that one. But the Middle Eastern side of the United States, and in the spring we get so much rain and storms. Well, Argo can create namespace. I don't think it will automatically create namespace, is what I'm saying. All right. We also changed this project to the Null Cloud project, which I don't think is actually a project. I don't think is actually a project. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it originally was. Okay. Let's push this. Let's push this. But yeah, I don't know why where I live is called the Midwest, because like that's what it's called. I'm not quite in New England. New England's a little bit more northeast. Some people call it the Rust Belt. Did we really create that many things? Oh gosh. I guess a lot of these are the container runner. Yeah, the container runner. Ooh, you know what we didn't do before? Let's check this out really quickly. What version is the container runner going to do? We need a very specific version. Let's So this installs the CRD. We need the manager. Don't know, don't care. Here we go. Controller latest. This is the worst. Now, I will show you later how to do the versions not in here. Hard coding the version in here it's pretty much bad practice. Eddington container runner. And then this. This is this right here. Look at that. I learned my PPs. I'm going to stop saying that. All right. Git add commit shim. The brand new Null Cloud. Are you guys ready? Actually, should we log into Argo CD to watch it do its stuff? Let's log into Argo CD. I have to learn how to reset the password. Argo CD git admin password. It's saved in a secret. Not gonna. I think I might have to reset it. Here we go. Here we go. Let's try this. I'm going to Cone of Silence. I'm getting the password. So there was drums. Let me get the password. Let me get the password. I got the password. Wow, that's a secure password. I kind of impressed myself there. Now we need to proxy. Did I didn't actually copy the password. Okay, let me get that password again. Okay, so now I need to proxy Argo CD. I never gave it a. It doesn't even have a node port, I don't think. We can look here. Let's get all dash in Argo CD. It does not have even a node port. It just has cluster IP. So, let's see, Argo CD server. So I think that's what we need to proxy. Let's look at what it is. Argo CD proxy server. I just want I don't want to set it up through ingress. I just want to proxy it. I just forget what it's mapped to. I thought it would be easy to just is there a quick start? Is there a quick start? Getting started. Oh, we could just do ingress. Should we just do a load balancer? We should be able to do a load balancer. Let's just change it to a load balancer. If that's an okay thing, let's just do that. 100%. Because I have Metal LB. So I have load balancers just like the cloud does. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at that. 10.1.1.51. Let's go there with my pretty password that I have. 10.1.1.51. Not secure. Accept the risk and continue. Yeah. I actually really like how I set up my cluster and everything. It's pretty nice. Like I kind of get to use it like a real cloud, which is what we're going to try to get to do. Admin and password. If I still have that copied, I feel like I might have accidentally that seems way too long. I probably copied and pasted something else. 1 second. Cone of silence. Oh, you guys can't even see where I type it in up here. My big fat head's in the way. All right, well, we'll go back there and put in the password now. Okay. Cool. Oh dear. Oh dear. I think I actually knew this. So everything looks good. Oh, okay, so we have a certificate that expired. I feel like we have a thing that's supposed to be refreshing that, though, so we'll have to check in on that. That's interesting. Interesting. I do like this look of everything because we'll be able to see the Null Cloud deployment here and click in on everything. Search Manager does seem to be running, so the expired cert, I wonder what that one is for. All right. Yeah, I copied the last command, which was my bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and push this. All right, drum roll. Git push. Oh yeah, I just work on the main branch of this. I know that you're supposed to do like a branching strategy when you're using Argo CD, but I just love living life on the edge. All right. Oh, wait, is it not doing anything? Come on, come on, come on. I super broke it. Oh, actually, this is, I didn't actually super break it. What happens is each of these, let's look over this. This is really good because I wasn't thinking about this. I made a new YAML file that it's not actually watching. This is a custom resource, an Argo CD application, and it's actually watching that application. So it's watching this repo at this root for changes. So it's not actually watching this because I haven't deployed this Null Cloud YAML to it. So let's go do that. Okay, apply -f apps Null Cloud. So now anytime we make changes to that directory, it will be watching that from now on. And we should be able to jump over here to see a Null Cloud. Yeah, see, it's already here. Null Cloud's here. It's unknown. It's syncing. It's working on it. Now, that was a lot of hype for I forgot to apply the file. I think what I might do is next Next week, I might do this from the ground up. Because I need to automate it better. So the last time that I broke my cloud, um, the last time I broke the cloud, um, it took me a little while. It took me like several hours to get it back to where it was supposed to be. My goal is to have it all automated and all pretty quick, but yeah, it took some time. This can take some time to sync. I have auto sync enabled. Now, the thing that we might need to do is we might need to delete the null web. Oh, did it remove the null web? Well, okay, so we have a problem with customize. Now, there's actually a pretty easy GitHub action that we can make for this. I've made this before, but let's go ahead and fix this. Actually, let's get my ugly face out of here. Yeah, moment of silence for the null web. That's right. So you guys can see this a little bit better. Maybe make this a little bit bigger. So basically what happened is it failed to build the customization. Customize goes and kind of builds the stuff out. And you can see the deployments null cloud base UI must resolve to a file. So it either has to be a customization file or there has to be a file called customize.yaml there. And obviously there's not. So let's look at what that is. Base UI. So it's saying, so when you saw here, we had these overlays. And these like go to, you know, base overlays. So we can go into base here and look at overlays. And you can see that we have this one, this UI. This needs to have a customization file in it, or it needs to point to actual YAML files. So we have a custom. Did I misspell customization? Let me copy this. No, I just want to copy the name actually. Rename. Copy. I can't see TOMIZATION. It looks right to me. One second. Let's go back to that error. Ooh. So this is the command: customize build dot deployments, not dot slash. I feel like maybe we didn't do these dot dot slashes right. Base overlays prod, that works. So it comes down here to overlays prod must resolve to a file. Oh, so deployments null cloud base overlays prod must resolve to a file. Or a customization. So let's check out that. Deployments null cloud base overlays prod. I'm just flipping screens. So here we have the null cloud overlays prod. Seems right to me. We can actually run this locally. Base overlays prod. Usually these are easy to find. Oh, Oh, I wasn't reading the problem. Gateway.yaml. Oh, I see one right now. Let's fix this. Let's fix this. We removed the gateway. No gateway drugs here. So let's get rid of that. So in here, there is no gateway anymore. Can't find that. Was that the whole chain? Was this a whole chain that came to must build to a directory? Maybe that was the whole problem. So let's go in here and we can see that the Null Cloud application builds from the context of here, deployments from here. So let's try to build that. Do I have, I don't have customize installed, I bet you. I do. I do. Excuse you for doubting me. All right. So we're still not home free here. No, I didn't save the file, did I? I deleted it, and I didn't. I did save the file. Okay. Okay, so home Merrick code, null cloud deployments, null cloud base API. Oh, I have another one. Who told me to copy and paste? I feel like somebody got me in trouble with this, where we copy and pasted something somewhere. All right, we have a duplicate resource name. Eddington, you. Uh-oh. Another copy and paste mistake. These are all Eddington AI. Nope, right here. API. Like I said, a real senior engineer would know not to copy and paste. The only reason I copied and pasted now was for you guys, for you all. It's for you. I'm proving a point. I wouldn't have done something so stupid on purpose. I mean, on accident. On accident. Did it on purpose. All right, recursive measuring of Eddington UI. 1 second. Virtual service. Our virtual service has a problem. The name. API. I don't like this. Let's call it an actual virtual service. We'll skewer it. And we'll update the other one to this one. Oh, we don't need double skewers. All right. Done. It works. Let's ship it. Horrible commit. Wait. Oh, I I did IT add. I got a little excited. All right, I'm just gonna force sync it. Yes, replace. I want all of them. How do I synchronize all? I can't select resources because you didn't synchronize the first time. You stupid application. I can't select resources when you don't know. You know what? You know what? Sledgehammer time. Nope, nope, nope. Not deployments, apps. We're going to delete the app. It might recover itself. I believe it will. Because it's going to keep trying. But, like, it's probably hit a back off at this point, and I just would prefer it to reset. This is better. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. What? A month of work? Pretty good. All right. Nullcloud.io. Not oh, it hasn't deleted what we have out there, which means this might not work. Uh-oh, the Eddington API. Oh, the Eddington API requires secrets that we didn't deploy. So, how much you want to bet that this is complaining that it doesn't have a secret? I'm willing to bet. Backed off, restarting failed container. Logs, boom. Uh-oh. 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 Oops. Yeah, we didn't give it anything. We need to actually give it things because it just tried to use all the dev stuff, which obviously isn't even perfect. So called that one. What's everything? Everything else is running? The endpoint slices. Ah. Interesting. It's not fully synced yet. I'm trying. The virtual services. This is why I looked at the virtual service. The API virtual service hasn't deployed. And I don't see the UI virtual service, do I? What did... It should be Eddington UI virtual service, right? Oh, yeah, it's right here. Okay, so it did say that it synced this. Now, the only thing is, we have a competing virtual service out there that they didn't clean up. And I believe Istio is a first come, first serve with how it registers those. So let's clean that up. Now, this means as soon as I do this, the Null Cloud as it existed for a month will cease to exist. It's a moment in time. I think it's in the web. I forget where we put it. Wait a second. This is wrong. Why is Eddington in here? Didn't we have a Null Cloud? All right. More mistakes were made. I'm gonna blame Twitch chat for this one. Gosh dang it. All right, we fixed that part. That will get rectified. Okay. Get virtual services -A for all namespaces. That's the one we want to delete. Okay, delete virtual services web. -in web null web vs. All right. All right. Now let's save this. We need to save this because we royally screwed that up. Not my fault. Remember, that one's on you guys. Get commit -m -m fixed namespace issue in deployment. Get push. Now, if you guys didn't fail me this time. All right, let's ready for the refresh. I think we broke it. I think we broke it. It's broken. It's broken. Now, interesting here. It's not a... It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere. You know what? You know what? Let me try a different browser really quickly. Just so we know that there's no caching. No. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can't be reached. You should be able to access it. This is publicly available. It was working. I think it's broken now. Let's check out what this thinks. You don't have the Null Cloud bookmarked? That hurts. That hurts. It's the most exciting new website to date. Now let's force sync this. We're gonna call replace. And we're gonna call... Maybe we won't call replace. We're gonna try to synchronize. The Eddington API is always going to fail until we get some environment variables. But that should be fine. The UI should work without it. Now it said it synced it. Synced it. So I didn't like the API virtual service, but that's fine. It was fine with the UI virtual service, which should yeah, let's see. Get all dash in null cloud. So we have the UI, it's running. This is going to crash and restart because of, reasons. We have the cluster IP service. We can actually proxy to this. Okay, what I'm thinking. Let's actually review this really quickly. Monta, you're going to be perfect for this. I bet you I messed up a port routing. Okay, so for the UI, the virtual service is going to be working on port 80. For the service, I said the target port was 80, which and then the port. And you're saying in the deployment, it's binding to port 80, right? So that looks correct to you. All right, so should we just K port forward in null cloud Eddington UI all right, so now we should be able to go localhost port 80, right? Port 8080 on localhost. So that is working. That does appear to be working. That does not. All right. Well, let's see where it's failing. So ingress is not set up correctly. Agreed. It is set up exactly how the other one was set up. Except I've never done anything on port 80 because I can just avoid it. So, like, this is a little weird to me, but, like, well, yeah, you can think of the virtual service as the ingress. Not entirely. So your virtual service gets called, basically you can see it's binding to this gateway. And this gateway is kind of your ingress. So basically this virtual service ties it from your ingress into, it's part of your ingress. It's part of your ingress. That works in cahoots with this. So this is doing the Istio ingress gateway, which is binding basically the nullcloud.io, the host, and doing TLS termination. So this is why you get that strong lock up at the top, because it does have a verified cert. It's interesting that this says 404. All right. Where does... Let's look at this right here. That's interesting. Yes, it's an ingress gateway. It's the same as ingress. Now, it's the same thing we were using, just a bit. Actually, one second. Hey, get 1 second. I think I know the problem right now. I think I know. Get gateway. Wait, what? It's called Istio gateways. Yeah, ingress gateway. Wait. That's not the type. The type is gateway. I'm not thinking. This is the Null Cloud gateway in web. Interesting. This is not... Oh my gosh, I deployed it in the wrong namespace. What a fool. So what's happening is this gateway is only going to be able to work in the same one. So like it can't reach it. All right, so let's fix this. Git add git commit -m fixed another namespace issue with ingress gateway. Git push. Man, I'm gonna blame that one on the thunder. The thunder's been distracting me. All right. I don't even know that it's synchronized. Let's let's see. Oh, it's degraded. Let's see. It's the API. I mean, the API is going to. Where is the gateway? Where's our gateway drugs? Stop trying the API. It's gonna die on you. Where's our... Wait. What is our gateway called? Null Cloud Gateway. Pretty straightforward. I don't see it. I can't search for it either. Do we have a gateway? Are we not... Oh, no. I think we have another mistake here. So did we ever put networking as part of the overlay? Did we? That's the question. That is the question. No, we did not. So we are not deploying our new gate. Oh, so many mistakes. So many mistakes. Now, you could always do this in locally on a local Kubernetes cluster. And in the future we will, instead of like actually just trying stuff on production. But our production is garbage anyways. It was garbage stuff that I had out there. So now, if we're deploying a new gateway, the gateway takes some time. It takes some time. So we might have to wait a little while. We should see the gateway now. No. What was it called again? What was it called? Null Cloud Gateway. Let's try to force this to synchronize again. It says it's syncing, but I think it's stuck on synchronizing this. We need to terminate that synchron. Yeah, let's terminate that operation so we can tell it to start again. Why isn't it letting me tell me? Let me. There we go. Let's sync. Now, what we can do is we can be a little selective. We don't need to resynchronize all the RBAC stuff that we did. Really, we don't need to resynchronize any of those things. And it doesn't see the networking. So hopefully it picks up the networking this time. Ah, there we go. We see the gateways coming up. There we go. Gateways coming up. Now. It's not syncing? It hasn't said failed yet. Let's just sync just this. Partial synchronization. Okay, well, fine. So it says another. We'll let it set. We'll let it set for a little bit. No, I don't need to update the DNS. Shouldn't. So how this works? Let me draw this out, and this will be in my YouTube video, which I'm hoping that there's like a usable thing that we can demo at the end of July that my YouTube video goes with. But basically, this is how it works. This is you. This is Cloudflare. And then this is static IP firewall to house. And so what's actually happening is the DNS for nullcloud.io is here. The Null Cloud DNS lives here. Cloudflare has my static IP address, so it knows how to forward traffic here. Now, if you're thinking, oh, is that a little bit weird with... okay, this line is a little weird. Is that a little weird with TLS? The answer is yes. So what happens is I have my own TLS, and Cloudflare has Cloudflare's TLS. Cloudflare's TLS. So with you, when you go to Cloudflare, you actually get their validated TLS certificate. And when they go back here, they get my and validate my TLS. So there is TLS on every single hop, and Cloudflare can actually prove this. But you're actually not getting my TLS validation. You're getting Cloudflare's. And then Cloudflare is validating with me. But this means I don't have to update DNS because DNS goes here. And Cloudflare has my ingress IP address. All right. So we still have the API virtual service that failed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop this synchronization. I think it's getting hung up on this API virtual. Oh, okay. So the gateway is out. Cool. Yeah, it's getting hung up on this, which is going to continue failing. Now let's hit refresh. Let's do Chrome. Nothing. Okay. It could just take it a little while, to be honest. It's now in the... Okay, let's just check here. Okay, get gateway -a. Ah, we still have both. So this is actually a problem. If you have two registered, it's not going to help. Okay, delete gate. Wow, that's not delete. Gateway web-in. So basically, if you have two gateways that are vying for the same resource, the first one wins. There's actually some weird logic between some of that, but yeah, in general. So in web. 1 second. That's actually the gateway, Null Cloud gateway. All right. We'll leave Chrome up over here. Very nice. Maybe not very, very nice, as home is a little lonely. I never noticed that before. That home is just a little lonely. But it's all there. It needs Home Alone. I'm sorry. I think this is fantastic. I just saw that. Yeah, I did notice this, that the title here was the Vite View TS. I was going to fix it. I'm trying. I don't think that we're in a position to be nitpicky. So if you notice that I don't nitpick things like that, it's because there's absolutely no reason to. It's better to have something than for me to be like, excuse me, I see Vite View plus TS at the top. Please fix. You know what? Yes, it needs fixed, but DVD, we did it. It's there. You can click login. It's not going to work, but you can click it. It's fine, Monta. Like I said, it's fine. Also, I think that this has issues with a very big screen. So this is a 4K monitor. This is not what it looked like smaller. Oh, the reason it's not working, Monta, is because of I gave it the Ori, the authentication stuff for our backend in production, which is the API is broken. Ori doesn't have our custom domain, so there's some work I need to do to get this to actually let you log in. Basically. Yeah, so to get this to work, I need to do some work. Like the API is failing because it doesn't have all of its environments variables set up and stuff. It does look bad in 4K. 4K. It's fine. It's fine. It's a little fun in 4K. It's a little fun in 4K. That's what we say. That's I expect you to test this in 4K. Please. It looks so much better like this. Don't worry about it. Like I said, I'm not anywhere near ready to be picky about anything. This is good. This not as much. But yeah, this is good. That's fine. I didn't expect you to. I'm excited. We got all of this working. Nobody's going to be able to do this quite yet. This is going to fail. I do think DVD is right. You can zoom out like I am doing. Like I'm zooming in, obviously. So I'm doing 200%. That is, oh, you can't see it, but here. This is 100%. That's really small. You probably can't see it, but I'm doing 200%, which is replicating yours. So you could test by going to 50%, basically. There's also stuff in Chrome DevTools. So. I love how this image is pre-cut off. It's not that the text we ship it cuts it off. It's actually like baked in there cut off. That's pretty fantastic. Yeah. So, not worried about it. I'm going to work on this so that people can subscribe. Not today, not right now. One way or another, it's not a big deal right now. It's fine. I need to get going. I've been streaming for over 4 hours now. We've done well. We've got an entire deployment. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we got a lot done. You can still test it by just zooming out. Just zoom out. Do 50% resolution. And I'll do 200% resolution so it doesn't look like we just lost our crap. That's fantastic. So yeah, today or tomorrow, probably not today. My kids are actually leaving to go see their grandfather tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna actually try to spend a little extra time with them today, before they leave. But I will get this fixed so that they can actually do this. So I have to get the API working, which is just putting in the secrets. It should be pretty quick and easy to do that. And then I can set up the custom domain with Ori. And we should be able to get people to log in and sign up. Not do anything, but they can log in and sign up. I think what we should do is do an invite system only. So you can only sign up if you have an invite code or something like that. I think Ori has a mechanism to do that where it's just invite only. If they have a workflow for that, we might want to do that. Yeah, but doesn't matter. This looks awesome. It still looks better than what was originally there. You know what? It looks like, as long as you're not on 4K, it looks fine. 4K, it looks a little derpy, but it's all right. It's all right. I love how like 200% should be the 4K, but for some reason 250 for this one to look good. I think this page wouldn't be as bad if it didn't like have this line that cut it off. But yeah, don't worry about it. Anyways, this looks great. This looks great. I'm happy. All right. Well, I'm gonna get going. What's this, Tyson? What are we looking at? Using your I can post links. Oh wait, this is. Don't worry about it, Manta. Take your time. We'll work on it. I was gonna contribute some to the front end as well. Maybe not. That's maybe not a good thing, but I'm going to. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining. I will see you guys tomorrow for the news, and yeah. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.